Garbage in, garbage out. If the sellers are putting terrible data into these fields, some people would argue that's maybe problematic. Maybe we're asking too much of some sellers. The old PSA 10 question mark, question mark. Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Parkside Merchant channel. Wanted to do a very quick video today, just kind of a reaction video to an announcement that I received from eBay this afternoon, basically in my email, my eBay messages here. So I got this notification that there are new changes coming to trading card listings on eBay. I think this is new. I did not see a whole bunch about this in my prior reading and just my prior awareness of what eBay's up to. So I think this is a new announcement. I think this is news, I believe, but we'll find out as we kind of go through this. But they basically sent a note here that summarizes, I guess, some key changes to trading cards and how trading cards are listed and how those listings are structured. So let's just go ahead and take a look here at the message. So they're optimizing trading card listings starting today. They're basically going to ask you for more detail, I guess, from your listings, which is good to see. I feel like a lot of times you discover cards that are listed so badly on eBay that if they are going to force sellers to like fill more fields, populate more fields, and make their listings more specific, that's good news for people like me and for folks that are shopping for cards. I mean, that's music to my ears. A better listing, more data, more fields, forcing sellers to do that sort of stuff. I like the sound of it, at least on face. Now you can list cards by product type. They'll have a sports card. They're going to have a trading card category. Franchise, I guess, for some of the non-sports trading cards. So that's interesting. I guess that's good news, right? It gives people a better ability to filter out stuff that they don't want to look at when they do searches for PSA 10 cards, right? New options for graded versus ungraded. I like that. That sounds good too. Force a seller to say whether it's a graded piece versus just bulk, right? Or an ungraded binder or collection. I did take a quick look at where this link goes, and it's actually very unrelated. It's like a link to a whole bunch of like detail on stuff that's not exactly trading card relevant. All right, so a couple of my thoughts on this. Number one, I think this is good news to see that eBay is going to start forcing sellers to be more deliberate, more specific, data-driven, force people to populate fields if they're going to try to list something as a PSA card. I like this because as a buyer, it makes it a lot easier to find the sort of stuff that you're interested in purchasing. In the past, I mean, a lot of folks know this, if you are doing searches for trading cards, a lot of times you stumble upon things that are just listed badly, or you miss out on sales, right? You hear about a card that's sold that you didn't even know was on the market because I guess your search filters and things like that didn't really pick it up effectively, which is a problem. So I'm very happy to hear that they are going to start being more deliberate and more specific in the fields that they require people to populate. If you're going to say that you're selling a PSA 10 card or a BGS graded card or whatever, right? If it's a graded card, that's critical. I also like that they are forcing people to distinguish between their graded inventory versus ungraded, because I think this means that you're going to have a new filter now in your item properties. If you wanted to do a saved search, for example, you'll be able to filter out all the ungraded stuff if you want. So this is good to see, right? It gives you a lot of control now as a buyer over the kinds of things that you're going to scoop up in your various search activities on eBay. Now, what's the downside to all this, you may ask, right? It sounds great. You force a seller to be more specific about what they're listing. You have better data to make a judgment when you're doing a search query on eBay, so that you only are scraping up the sorts of things that you care about. And in general, I think it's just better for the market when you get into the PSA SMR price guidelines. It's going to be a lot easier for people to keep track of graded cards that sell because there's a new field for the graded sales. The downside to all this is that the data is only as good as what people are entering into those fields. In other words, if somebody really doesn't understand the trading card market, there's still a very high probability that they will mislabel or even misuse some of these different fields. For example, calling a Yu-Gi-Oh card first edition that is obviously not first edition, or labeling something a PSA 10 that is clearly a PSA 9, for example. I don't know that it's going to have deconflicting capability, where if you put in the cert number, is it automatically going to correct somebody if they put a PSA 10 in for a PSA 9? Who knows if that's even possible or if they're going to do that. But I am concerned a little bit that people are just still going to continue to misuse these filters and fields. And for anybody that purchases Yu-Gi-Oh cards on eBay, you know that misuse of filters and fields happens all day long. People are just all the time calling stuff mint or near mint that's not mint or near mint. They call things a PSA 10 in the description that are clearly a PSA 9 or a PSA 8, right? The old PSA 10 question mark? It's a great thing to do, obviously, to get scooped up in the filters, but it's not, at least in the way that they're trying to structure these new fields, it's going to be very problematic if people are just filling this with bad data. Garbage in, garbage out. If the sellers are putting terrible data into these fields, it's still going to ruin the effectiveness of the search terms and ultimately make some of this stuff pretty low impact as far as what it means for buyers and sellers in the collectibles community. The other thing that I'm intrigued a little bit by is this whole categorization of sports versus game versus franchise. I don't really know what this means exactly. Like, I feel like there's already a lot of filters and fields for this sort of stuff, but I guess it's good now that people are forced to bucket their sports cards from their trading card game cards. Although these days, like if you're a Pokemon collector or a Yu-Gi-Oh collector, you're not often going to scoop up a lot of sports cards in your search terms, at least in my experience. And I'm pretty deliberate about what I search for, but I don't feel like I'm always returning a bunch of sports cards collections when I'm trying to find Yu-Gi-Oh collections on eBay. And I'm sure vice versa is true. If you're searching for sports cards on eBay, are you really turning up a lot of search results for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh? Maybe. Like maybe there's some people that are listing their stuff as like, they just list like sports cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and like all in one big header to try and scoop up search terms and search queries. But I don't know, I feel like that's kind of low impact in my experience. If you're really looking for Pokemon binders, you're going to find ways to structure your search terms to just get Pokemon binders for the most part. I do like that people are now required to, if they have a graded card, you have to specify like if it's graded, who graded it, what was the cert number, which is really nice. That's going to make it a lot easier at PSA for these guys to keep track of the prices and some of the auctions data that they use for the SMR price guideline. So I think that's pretty good news on that front. Very happy to see that those details are going to be required. So I think, bottom line here, folks, this is generally good news, right? It's going to require more details from sellers. It's going to make the jobs of buyers easier when it comes to actually finding the stuff that you care about on eBay. I don't really think there's anybody that's disadvantaged by this stuff, except I guess maybe some sellers who really don't care much about this hobby, that don't really know the details. For example, if somebody is in possession of a lot of cards that are graded, but they really are not into the hobby for some reason, maybe they inherited stuff, or they're like, I don't know, they just received this stuff somehow and they don't really know a lot about the market. This is going to be a pain, right, for them to have to fill in all this data, go through all these extra steps. In the old days, right, part of the value prop on eBay has always been it's a low barrier to entry. Any old person off the street can make an account. You can list an item that you know nothing about, a rare collectible, a rare item, put it up for auction, and the people who are smart, the people that care about this stuff, are going to find it and they're going to bid it up for the prices that they think are fair. And there is something democratic, right? And there's something very inclusive and very low barrier to entry, very just easy to use about that, that's appealing to people. If I know nothing about rare golf clubs, I can list a rare golf club on my eBay page. I don't have to fill out a lot of fields, and people are going to find it and they're going to send me messages or they're going to make offers on it if they care about it. And this means like that's changed a little bit. Now you have to kind of do your homework. You're going to have to read the card. You're going to have to enter the cert numbers. You're going to have to know the grade. You're going to have to figure out the grading company. You're going to have to know if it's graded or ungraded, right? There's like a little bit higher of a barrier, a higher bar now for people that are going to list Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or sports cards on eBay. Some people would argue that's maybe problematic. Maybe we're asking too much of some sellers. In my opinion, though, to be honest with you, it's like, look, if you're going to go through the trouble to list something on eBay, at least go through the trouble to populate the fields correctly so that the buyers who care about this stuff can actually find it and make a fair offer on your item. So I think it's a net gain for the sports card market, for the trading card market. I don't really think anybody is all that inconvenienced by these changes. I think they are doing a slow rollout on some of this stuff. I have listed some cards over the past few weeks, and I have been required to enter some more data than usual. So I think it's generally good news. I'd be interested to hear what folks think down in the comments. What do you think about eBay's optimized changes for the trading card market? Do you think this is good news or bad news for the market? Do you think it even matters? Is this going to even have an impact? Let me know down in the comments what you think. Once again, this is the Parkside Merchants channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.